What a queen! I need professional help.
Sports Betting Weekly.
Sports Betting Weekly, sponsored by EasySportsData.com. The books use data, shouldn't you too? And this is easy sports data, like the preschoolers use. EasySportsData.com.
I win here and I win there. Now what?
Sports Betting Weekly.
What a queen!
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money.
You should also check out SportsBettingLessons.com. You'll learn some old tricks because sometimes how you bet is more important than who you bet. SportsBettingLessons.com.
Let's just do it. Let's meet this thing head on. And you were in it to win it. Talk about an education.
Sports Betting Weekly.
Wow, winning.
Sports Betting Weekly.
Sit back and enjoy the show.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
Welcome to Sports Betting Weekly. I'm second half Chaz. I have got with me a couple very, very, very excellent. I might have shorted them, but very excellent handicappers. In John from GM Sports Consultants and Wes from 151 Sports Investing. So before we do anything, I wanted to just say thank you to anybody that's ever served in the military. As you know, it is Veterans Day. It's Armistice Day. Say that 3 times. That's like saying Saskatchewan. It's Armistice Day in the world, and that's because that was World War I, and what we did is we kind of combined all the wars. And honestly, if you've got to combine all the wars together to call it Veterans Day, maybe you got too many wars, but I'm going to let that one go. So if you've ever served our nation or serving it now, and I have family members, especially my brother Charlie, so we really, I got a nephew that's serving right now, Sal. So thank you for everything that you do. And then that I felt that was more important than live action opportunities, but that's really what we do that's different from when we were on the air Saturday mornings on Sports Betting Weekly in the old days on ESPN, because there was nothing live yet at 8 o'clock in the morning. And of course now we wake and bake at 8 o'clock in the morning, so we don't really care on Saturday mornings if there's nothing on. But I'm gonna just ask each of you a couple questions regarding where you're at now. So I know that John, you sent us over that Florida State cash you had last night. Are you hopping on NCAA basketball right from the get-go?
For the first 2 weeks, I will jump in very light, kind of choosing my games, being very selective, playing half the units for probably about the first 2 to 3 weeks, until I kind of get some more information, some more stats, some more analytics. Right now, what I'm going on for college basketball is pretty much my familiarity with the teams from last year. So, teams that I followed last year, teams that I tracked, teams that I kind of know, that's what I'll be doing for the first couple of weeks here. Kind of get my feet wet a little bit, so to speak.
And yeah, I guess you have to, especially with they changed the rules because of COVID and guys are playing that weren't playing before. And you got to know who's coming and who's going. So that's really a good way to do it, because it's a lot easier to catch up on a team that you already knew versus having to learn them from scratch. Does that make sense, Sean?
Oh yeah, that's correct. That's a big thing. Obviously, returning starters, because you get that chemistry, which is very important in the beginning of the season. So if you have a team that's returning 2, 3, 4, maybe even 5 starters or 5 guys in total, you kind of want to look to them, and just different scenarios early in the season and coaching and stuff like that. I don't really pay too much attention into the rankings, because I think I think these kind of early rankings really don't have any standards really, or as far as me betting, doesn't really affect it. Like I said, I'm just going with teams that I'm familiar with, and kind of keep an eye out, overall everything for the next 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, you could know teams that aren't ever going to be ranked and make money in college basketball.
Yeah. Oh yeah, exactly. Yep. We get a lot of that on the West
small
Coast
conferences.
Here, so.
They don't get any activity on the board on the leaderboard. All right, so we're going to do the same thing, but I'm going with Black Hawk West. Of course, we call him Black Hawk West. And it's not, he didn't, that's not what his family, when the doctor slapped him on the ass, that's not what they called him. But you got to think that he's a Blackhawk fan, and he's got to be a hockey fan. Well, I've been betting hockey with Black Hawk West for years now. So where are you in your hockey season? Are you all in? Are you not all in? If you are all in, is it part of your sports Chicago Sports Trader Options Traders where you do your discord.com page? Talk to me.
Yeah, so I'm not giving out plays to the members just yet. I'm not holding back. I'm just similar to John. I'm tiptoeing into the season. There's been some moves that have happened. I don't even want to talk about the shame that's going on behind the scenes in that Blackhawk organization right now, but that's a hard team to get to know. Normally, I could tell you when to bet on or against the Blackhawks, but I'm building the data and the information and sitting through. But right now, kind of the model that I've been talking to the members about is, I'm on a 3 cash out a week program right now, and there's the Monday through Thursday units, which involve some MAC football on the Tuesdays and Wednesdays. We're jumping on a little bit of basketball, not laying tremendous amount of points, but just, some overs and unders here and there. Those units are very different. Then there's the Saturday college football units, which Saturdays are much less games right now on college football. And then, we'll throw in some hockey stuff, but first period overs, team totals, things like that. I don't have my arms around the teams and who's going to play well against who just yet. The 2-man goalie rotations are still kind of working themselves out. Some hot teams that have played a lot of games in the last 2 years, deep playoff runs, have not gotten off to a start. So there's some surprises there, and then there's the Saturday football unit, and then we go into our Sunday unit, which right now our Sunday NFL unit is our biggest unit, and it will stay that way until college is over, and then once football's over, we get full on NFL. When college football's over, NHL will fully heat up, and then there'll be picks out there for the members. There's just a lot going on right now, and you can't bet everything. And we have this thing called family and friends, and that kind of stuff too.
No, it's so true. There is a lot going on right now, and college football, because we do, we got to crunch the numbers every single week, and there was 60-something games that we have to put in. Now they're spread out, as you mentioned now, but Thanksgiving weekend, that's it, right? That's the last of, if you're not playing for a championship, you're not playing the following week, unless you're an Army or you're a Navy guy.
Yeah, all right, you're playing for your bowls.
Yep. So where we're at now is live action. This is really what we do. We do live action. So how I normally do live action is I look at what I look at and see where it's at, but I don't really have much. So I'm going to start with Wes. Are you on anything already? I know Thursday nights, the only way you're going in Thursday night is if an opportunity jumps out at you after kickoff. Would that be a correct statement?
Yeah, that's about where I'm at on the Thursday night. I know John texted out a play earlier. I'll let him talk about that. But I'm on the college game, and I was on North Carolina first half plus 3.5. At this point, Pitt is third and goal. So right now that first half is at plus 7.5. But if Pitt puts one in, I'm probably going to be looking at taking even more points just to either cover myself or double up. But I'm going to dip back in because UNC can score. They just can. So that's where I'm at.
All right, so let's do that, because I did make notes for these 2 football games tonight. John, do you have anything else besides the 2 football games tonight that you've already A, got action on, or B, are planning to?
No, nothing else. Really, the main focus as far as unit-wise is going to be on the NFL. I'm on the Baltimore Ravens first half team total 13.5. So we're looking for 2 touchdowns in the first half from Baltimore. Hopefully Lamar Jackson can run one in and we get another one on the offensive side there to get our points there. So that's really where the main focus is. I laid off college basketball. There wasn't nothing I liked on the slate today. And NBA and NHL, I'm laying low. I was similar to Wes. I did like, I was contemplating taking that over. It was high for the college game for UNC Pitt. You have 2 of, I guess, top 5, I guess some of the top 5 quarterbacks in the league right now, Pittsburgh and for North Carolina. And North Carolina's coming off that game where they played very, very, very well against Wake Forest, who was undefeated last weekend. I just laid off of it. I kind of like the Baltimore team total a little bit better, so I'm going to sit back and relax. Maybe I'll jump in on an in-game with Wes.
All right, so let me tell you what I looked at. Now, so if you go to bellyupfantasysports.com, you can get the Easy Sports data. And later on in the show, Wes is going to talk about the 2 Friday Canadian football games, and we actually give out the data for that as well. And we'll get on that CFL stuff a little bit more, and then we'll tease Saturday, because Saturday morning you're going to get 2 more games from them. But Pitt looked shaky early versus Duke last week. I had them, I watched. But they just came roaring back. They settled in, and they took off and did what they did. They're 5-1 against the spread overall their last 6, but they scored 27 plus at home in their 5 games this year, and that's 4 touchdowns. So that's a good chunk of that over right there. Now, that North Carolina game, wow, what a great game that was.
Phenomenal
I don't
game.
know. I think I had the over in that game. It was like such an easy winner that it was over early. I mean, the game total was over early. Then, and that's really why I love overs, is because then you can enjoy the game. Once you cash, you don't care who wins. It was a really exciting football game, John. You nailed that. But overall, they're allowing 35 plus a game. So, and you saw, Wake, they went up and down the field. They have scored 22 plus in their last 8, and that's what I did. I used this as a small little it was mostly Breeders' Cup action for me, and I'll give you a Breeders' Cup recap, and we'll talk about some of the horses, because you both have horse player history, and I want to give you just a wonderful, wonderful scenario that I had for about 30 seconds on Saturday. That game was just really exciting, but they give up a lot of points. So I did the all over. I took both teams over first half and the over first half. Both team totals over for the game and the over for the game. And I'm going to sit and watch, and it's 14-0 early. So that's, that you'd rather have the over when it's 14-0 early than the under. That's the way I'm going to look at it. But and then so we're talking about the Ravens game. The Ravens scored 31 plus pretty much in 3 of their last 4. But Baltimore in the first quarter, they're 0-5-1 under. They're 2-5 against the spread, but 0-5-1 under in their last 6. And Miami is 7-0 against the spread in the first quarter in their last 7 games. Now that's a thing that,
Wow.
you could say that's a thing a degenerate should know. You could say it. I don't think I haven't heard it before, but that's really what a data technician knows. That team is 7-0 against the spread in the first quarter. They've allowed one touchdown in those 7 games, 15 total points. So you math whizzes that are making fun of me for knowing a stat like that, 15 divided by 7 is barely 2 points a quarter. So that's one of the reasons why they're winning. And so when I see that jumps out at me. There's an under opportunity. I don't know. I have trouble betting first quarter unders. However, as you guys know, you get about the 9-minute mark, and they're just running between the 30s. Yeah, it's a pretty good spot to be. For the second half, though, Miami's 1-7 against the spread. So they've blown all those first quarter leads, and Baltimore's 4-1 against the spread in the second half. Now on the road, Baltimore has allowed 0 points in the first quarter. They are 6-0 in the first half, and guess what? They've scored at least in every one of those, pretty much every one. 4 out of 5, John, is 14 or more. So there we
go. That's what I like to hear.
At home, Miami hasn't allowed. I just talked myself to that first quarter under. I bet it. As soon as we get back from break, I bet. I got about 10 minutes, right? Miami hasn't allowed any points in their last 3. Everyone but Houston, though. Everyone but Houston scores 27 plus in Miami this year. If you're in Miami and you're on a road trip in the NFL, you're going to score 27 points unless you're Houston. And we've seen Houston. They're just really, really bad. They really are.
Yep.
And you kind of feel bad for them. So, all right. So that's where we're at. John.
Yes, sir.
Have you done your circuit plays yet for this week?
I just started looking at previous before. I didn't look, but there was a couple that I started looking at just right before I hopped on here on the live stream with you guys. So I got about 2 or 3 that I'm eyeing for circa this week. And I'll kind of narrow down the last few selections, probably around tomorrow.
We because of the Breeders' Cup last week, I didn't have, besides not having shows, I didn't have a lot of action because, as you know, Wes, but if you're using the racing form and there's 14 races, it's a full-time gig for a couple days, covering the Breeders' Cup. But after watching how your guys' plays went and the text thread between us, I was kind of glad I took the week off of the NFL. You know what I mean?
You picked the right week not to play any. And I tell a lot of people this, especially my members and everything like that. In NFL, you're gonna get at least 1 to 2 weeks where it doesn't matter. You just can't hit anything. You're gonna get some strange weeks, and unfortunately, that was last week for me, one of my worst weeks. As far as overall betting and in circa goes. So I need to rebound this week and pick up some wins.
That's why they call the book on any given Sunday, isn't it, Wes?
Exactly.
Yeah, and what an odd week it was. I mean, who had Dallas going to Denver and just laying an egg like that? I mean, there's just some odd things that happened, and John's right. They happen, and that's why you bankroll manage it. You don't like one game more than the next, and you do the right thing, and you live to bet another day.
So let's do this. Let's go take a break, and when we come back, we're gonna do the Breeders' Cup Rewind. We're gonna talk some CFL schedule with Wes for Friday. We're gonna talk about Saturdays to be determined. We're gonna get some NFL thoughts from John. You're listening to Sports Betting Weekly on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network, on the Belly Up Sports Podcast Network, and on the Sports Betting Channel.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
At championshipfootballs.com, they offer a 100% money-back guarantee on every single souvenir football that they sell. The coolest present they'll open that day, guaranteed. There's nothing worse than trying to find the right gift for somebody that already has everything. Whether that special present is for a New England Patriots fan or an Ohio State Buckeyes backer. Maybe Gramps is a lifelong New York Giants supporter. Or your brother-in-law is a 12th man living in Seattle. Know a member of the Michigan State Alumni Association? Is there a better Father's Day gift for someone who's a Baltimore Ravens fan? Send them the coolest present they'll open that day, guaranteed. Now, if your favorite pro team is the Buffalo Bills or those Minnesota Vikings, well, they're sorry about that. Also, if you're a New Mexico State Aggies or Tulane Green Wave alumnus, not much they can do. After all, the name isn't nice effort, you had a pretty good season, footballs.com. The name is championshipfootballs.com. The coolest present they'll open that day, guaranteed.
Hey, this is an important message. I'm Second Half Chaz from Sports Betting Weekly. Sports betting is supposed to be a hobby. It's supposed to be fun. If you're hurting yourself by gambling with money you don't have, check out our website for the Gamblers Anonymous phone number.
When Vince Young scored on 4th and 5 in the 2006 Rose Bowl, two things happened. The Texas Longhorns won the NCAA title, and ChampionshipFootballs.com was born. From Texas to Alabama to Ohio State, and now for Super Bowl winners too. ChampionshipFootballs.com is the place for the coolest present they'll open that day, guaranteed. Now, 10 years later, ChampionshipFootballs.com has the autographs too. See if any of these names remind you of a special time in your football life. Michael Bennett, Lou Holtz, Joe Montana, Devin Smith, Jameis Winston, Rocky Blyer, Rocket Ishmael, Ara Parsegian, Mike Stonebreaker, Chris Zorich, Luther Bradley, Todd Light, Tony Rice, Lawrence Taylor, Dave Casper, Marcus Mariota, Rudy Rudiger, David Tyree. Enter the promo code RADIO and you'll instantly save $50 on any of the ChampionshipFootballs.com autographed footballs. ChampionshipFootballs.com. The coolest present they'll open that day, guaranteed.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Sports Betting Weekly.
Sit back and enjoy the show.
Chicken dinner.
Welcome back to Sports Betting Weekly. I'm Second Half Chaz. I'm joined with Wes from 151 Sports Investing, from John from GMF Sports Consultant. You are catching us on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network or the Belly Up Sports Podcast Network or on the Sports Betting Channel. But the bottom line is your cash and tickets. So I did talk myself into that under in the first half. It's 9.5, and that's for the NFL game. And while I was in there, I hopped on John's play, which is 13.5 over. But, John, they moved the line up a lot on that. It's up to minus 157.
Wow.
So they don't, you know what?
That was.
Otherwise, it goes to that number. Otherwise, it goes to the number.
Yeah, exactly. Otherwise, it goes to 14, and that's probably where you want to kind of maybe second guess, So you're paying a little bit more juice.
To not get
13
the
and a half.
basically.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
But what we're going to do is we're going to pay attention to that. And we're going to see if it drops down in live action. We're going to hop on that again. So we're going to, but what I'm looking for is if they don't get a quick score, it's going to go down a little bit. And I would imagine the first thing that'll happen is it'll drop down closer to that pick'em for the minus 13 and a half before that number changes. So we'll see what happens there. And what else are we doing? Or are we going to do any other live action?
I jumped in. Pitt ended up scoring. They actually scored a touchdown and a field goal since our last conversation. Last we talked about it. So I went back in. I'm at plus 17 and a half now in something I loved at plus 3.5. So first half plus 17 and a half. I'm on UNC and it's 17-0 right now, but I think they'll close the gap.
All right. So let's look at that game. So the point spread is for me, I've got plus 18 and a half and minus 112. So you know what? I don't have a problem with that number because what was the line to start? Was it 7?
The line to start was 3 or 3. It was 3 or 3 and a hook, depending on where you looked.
All right, so,
I liked North Carolina with a chance to actually outright win.
Well, let's see. They're plus 560. I don't know. You know what? I'm gonna hop on that at plus 560. I saw what they did late, but I'm gonna do just a little bit. But here's the number I'm looking at: the team total. So let me look at this, see if I can catch their team total because that has had to have dropped dramatically from when the game started. And that's what I'm looking at because Pittsburgh's going to give up some points. They're going to score their points. So we'll see what happens. So that's what I'm paying attention to. And I'm going to write it down. You know what? I have no problem writing it down, especially, Wes, you mentioned how much we're dealing with and what's going on right now in the world in terms of how much sports betting you have opportunities for. So I'm not afraid to write stuff down. So what I'm doing is I'm looking live action for Baltimore, the team total of 13 and a half at a better number than I got. And I'm also looking for the NC team total, North Carolina team total for the game, not for the first half, for the game. And because they are not, wait, there it is. Okay, there it is.
26 and a hook.
Let's see here. No, I'm still not getting it. You got 26 and a half? Yeah, I don't.
Yeah,
that's
what I'm seeing it at.
But it's so funny because when you're really in live action, man, you got to be fast. And sometimes you're not fast enough because they tease you, they show it, and then it's gone. Sometimes
it's crazy how fast it can change.
Oh my God, it's just incredibly fast. All right, so let's do a Breeders' Cup rewind. You guys have both played horses before. I had a situation. I don't know what race it was, but it was that race where it was the first Japanese horse to win after like 42 horses. 8th, maybe 9th, don't get me wrong. So I have 6, 7, 8, 9. And as you know, I normally do not bet win bets. I bet the horses that I think can win the race, and I put them all in a box, and then I'll string along pick threes and doubles, which are win bets. So the worst case scenario is my horse wins. I don't hit the exacta. I don't hit the trifecta. I don't hit the superfecta. I'm live to doubles, and my horses run 2, 3, 4. Sometimes that happens. It's horse racing. It's gambling. But in this particular race, as they turn for home, there's 4 horses with about a 3-length lead over all the other horses. These are the 4 horses that are going to finish first, second, third, or fourth, and they're my 4 horses. I got to watch the entire stretch run, knowing I was hitting the superfecta. Now, I had it happen in the Derby one year with 3, but this is my first one where I could remember, because as you know, guys, you can't even tell sometimes what the numbers of the horses are, never mind that they're your horses. And this were clear as a bell, and my horse from, I think Ireland and England, it was an import, ran second at 25-1 to the Japanese horse. And, I always tell people, horse racing is one of the only places where you can walk in with $12 and walk out with 1,000. Bada boom, bada bing. I was Nostradamus on that race. So I bring my wife up, because I don't go to the racetrack because I couldn't get in for early bird. I don't like people. I'm not going to Breeders' Cup in Del Mar. I've been to Breeders' Cup in Santa Anita. It was great, but I wasn't going this year. So I'm waiting, and my wife comes up, and Vicky's looking at the screen, and it's got like $50 in there, and I'm clicking, and I'm clicking, and I'm clicking. She goes, "What are you doing?" I said, "Just watch that number." I'm clicking, but she doesn't have her glasses on, so she's squinting at the screen, and she goes, "Is that a 5? No, that's a 9." It was like $933. I won like $850 on the race. I took all my money that I bet. I took all my profit, as Wes has always said. And I told one of the guys, I really enjoyed the last 4 races. I hit another exacta, cashed out for a little bit more. So I ended up, as Wes was mentioning, 3 times a week. I cashed out twice on Breeders' Cup Day. And that right there, that's the main reason I believe in God. Right there. You don't get a superfecta that pays that much and not believe in God. There's no atheist at the racetrack. It was a great hit. I really enjoyed it, and I won't be probably betting horses again until I'm betting it with John from GMF Sports Consultants, because tomorrow or Saturday I will announce the annual Bet-Away weekend, which is in Las Vegas. It is the last weekend of January this year because, with all the extra games now, they have that extra game. Everything's pushed back. Super Bowl used to be the first week of February. Now it's going to be the second. So I already booked my airfare. I'm flying out Friday night, and I'm coming back Monday morning. It's been way too long since I've been to Las Vegas, and I'm very much looking forward to where I'm staying, and who I'm staying with that is also to be determined, but I'm looking forward to. So, John, it'll be what, about 2 months, 2.5 months.
About 2 months away. Sounds good.
I'm looking forward to it. All right, so
be fun.
What we're doing is, Wes, you were able to get on North Carolina's team total over already, or you just saw it and you hadn't hopped on it?
I saw it. You were talking about it. I didn't jump on it, and quite frankly, it's because I have double action on this game right now, and I haven't cashed anything. So I won't go back into this game. And
you're in good shape. Exactly.
I need to cash something on this first half before I'm investing one more penny into these Tar Heels.
Well, and that really, we talk about it all the time. Cashing tickets is really what we're all about, but it's got to be what you do with it when you cash. You have to pay yourself. You have to be smart. You can't give it back. And it's easy when you do a lot of live action like we have. It's easy to cash 7-8 tickets on a game. We've done it. I mean, the Bruins game up in Tahoe to this day,
that was glorious.
Oh, that was just great. But if you keep going, you could lose. If you could win 7 in a game, you could lose 7.
You can lose them. Exactly.
No doubt about it. All right, so let's start with let's see here. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to start with John.
Okay.
I'm not sure. Oh yeah, Wes is there. He was not there here. He's there now. Okay, you're back, Wes, huh?
Yes, sir.
All right, so let's start with John. Are you going to do any college games Saturday?
Probably not. I might play 1 or 2 plays for college Saturday. Football, I'll probably be looking more towards college basketball at this point, and kind of just laying low, taking it real easy with college football. So I'll be looking for some college basketball opportunities for Saturday.
That's a perfect trade-off, because until college football ends, which is really the first week of December, the only basketball I'm going to be betting is going to be the basketball that you two tell me to bet, because I'm not betting any other basketball. First of all, my father, God rest his soul, always said don't bet basketball because of the junk in the last 2 minutes. Now, don't get me wrong, that junk can beat you, but it could also cash for you, especially in the NBA where, in the last 37 seconds, you could literally have 6 possessions in the NBA. Mm-hmm. It's amazing because they catch it, they foul them, they shoot a 3, foul them, hits a 3. But I've also had games where I had no right winning and over. I needed like 18 points in the last minute and a half, and I got every one of them, and they were easy overs. So yeah, definitely let us know now. Give us 3 teams, the top 3 teams that you're familiar enough with from last year, John, that you mentioned that in the beginning you won't hesitate to bet them. Could you come up with 3?
Florida State. I mean, I was on those guys a lot last year. I pretty much rode them all throughout their tournament and into the big tournament, the NCAA tournament. So I'm pretty familiar with them. Another team that's a little bit off the grid is also Wyoming. I like Wyoming. They have a very core talented group of shooters. They're not afraid to shoot the ball. They actually played the other night too, and they beat a team by like 20, 30 points, I believe was the score. And then the other team would probably be UCLA, just because of the West Coast influence, and obviously they're a top-ranked team, and that was another team that I followed closely. So those would be the three teams that I'll kind of keep a track on it and keep an eye on moving forward.
All right, Blackhawk West, have you given out your plays for Saturday to your Discord.com group? If you're talking, I'm not hearing you. It says you got volume here, but I'm not hearing you. You hearing anything, John, from Wes?
No, nothing.
That's about the only time you're not going to get winners from Wes is if you can't hear him. Because pretty much if he's talking, he's giving you winners.
Yes. Yeah.
All right, so
I see his lips moving. I don't see
it. But I'm not hearing anything either. All right, so the NFL game is kicked off, right?
Yeah. NFL game kicked off. Baltimore's already kind of driving. They're already in Miami territory. So
there you go.
Yep.
Good to know. And let's see, where are we at? So did we get Blackhawk West back to the world? He looks like he's working it.
I think he's trying to fix the issue at that. Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, if you want to try to log out and log back in, Wes, I'm going to go back to John because I'm not getting anything.
Yeah, maybe log out, log back in.
Yeah, so I don't know.
There we go.
All right, we'll see. All right, so when will you start working on Circa?
So the Circa, I got about 2 or 3 plays that I probably will lock in, and then I'll finish, the other 2 tomorrow. But one that I was looking forward to is going to be the Chargers. They're at home. I like them. And then there was another team which I'm kind of skeptical about this line, but it would be Tennessee. Tennessee's also at home. They're playing the Saints. They're only getting 3 points. I know there's injuries, obviously, on both sides of the ball. But for whatever reason, that Tennessee game, even though I'm probably going to take them, it scares me because they've been winning, a lot. And I'm kind of almost forced to kind of take them, but I don't like that game, which that doesn't really make any sense. But
no, but scary, I appreciate that, and that's the beauty, really, the beauty of the contest. Don't get me wrong, the contests are hard, and as I've stated before, they do not fit my gambling strategy. They really don't. Mm-hmm. But they're a lot of fun. They're not easy at all. But the one thing about
can you hear me now?
Oh, clear as a bell.
Yes, you're good. Now you're good. Yeah.
The one thing about the NFL contest is that you don't have to rush to get your bets in, John, because the line ain't going anywhere.
Yeah, it's not going anywhere. Exactly. You have up until 2, 3 o'clock on Saturday, so you can take your time up until Saturday, which is good. If you have gone, especially with COVID,
Right, and if you have gone on the websites for the Circa or the Super Contest or any of the contests, and you see what the lines are, and then you wake up Sunday morning, you look at the lines, you see the difference. There's no doubt about it. You see the difference. All right, Blackhawk West, you are back, right?
College.
All right. So I asked John about Saturday. Talk to me about this Saturday for you.
So I sent out a message yesterday to the group on the Discord because I felt like the odds were going to shift, and it was. We were at plus 105 or even money on the 23.5 Cincinnati line tomorrow night. And I wanted to get that even money. I got the plus 105, but I laid the 23.5 on Cincinnati. It shifted to 23. So while if you waited a minute, you caught a better spread, but you also had to give up some juice. But I think that Cincinnati knows they need to score points. They can score points. It's going to be a primetime standalone game tomorrow night. So that was the first play that I threw out there. And then the other one is Coastal Carolina. Coastal's going to be on their second week in a row with a different starting quarterback. Grayson McCall is hurt, but their backup is a senior, a man that's been in the system. He had a great game last week, and they also have an injured running back that they lost mid-game. But Coastal is loaded with talent. I'm jumping on them over 16.5 in the first half. We've not seen that line on Coastal Carolina in at least 12 months, and they've never not done it. at least since we've been on them in over a year's time. So over 16.5 first half, Coastal Carolina. Go Mullets.
Yeah, though they have they bounced out early last week for sure, and they have just been a scoring machine the last couple of years for sure. All right, so now we're going to go over and we're going to look at this Baltimore game because they kicked a field goal. So they did not score the touchdown, which for me and my under first quarter bet is helpful. But I'm really looking to get some action on that team total for the first half for the Ravens now and see where it stands, whether it went up or it did not. And I am not getting anything there on that. But as soon as I do, I will let you know. So let's go to Friday. Now, we've got 2 weeks left in the Canadian Football League regular season. We have followed it all year. It's our first full year of following Canadian football on our show, our first full year of having easy sports data. So if you do go to bellyupfantasysports.com and you go to the easy sports data tab and you get the NFL easy sheet, you're also getting the CFL thrown in for free. What's cool about the CFL is next year I get to watch it by my pool because when do they kick off? In June?
June.
Looking forward to it. So let's talk about the two games on Friday.
Yeah, so the first game on Friday, this one is actually for first place in the division. I mean, they'll have one more week after this to play, but they'll be playing separate. So this is Hamilton going to Toronto. And the winner will be in first place of the East Division. That matters. There's a bye. They won't have to play in the first round. And it matters a lot for Toronto. Toronto, they don't lose at home, and they score points at home. A couple weeks ago, we were talking about the amount of points that they score at home versus on the road. I mean, it is heaven and hell opposite. So the spread in this game is 1. My concerns for Hamilton earlier in the season was their points. They are clicking on offense now. They've maintained a top 3 defense in the league. So it doesn't really matter to me that this is in Toronto. 1 point, I'm taking Hamilton. They're going to lock in first place. At this point, I think Hamilton it's just a matter of getting through the weeks, and they're going to end up in the Grey Cup with Winnipeg. So I like Hamilton, and I'm laying the 1 point, even though it's at Toronto where they don't lose very often, if ever. Hamilton is just top to bottom the best defense that Toronto has had to face.
Yeah, and when I look at the data overall, Toronto hasn't covered now for 3 straight games, but this last game was a pretty low-scoring game. They went under the number by a tick, by a field goal. But before that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of 10 were over. So there's some points going to be scored in that game for sure.
Yep, I agree. There's going to be points, and again, Toronto scores at home, but this Hamilton defense is very different, and first place is on the line now.
All right, so let's look at the second game. Now that's tomorrow night, 7:30.
Yeah. So 7:30 your time, 9:30 Central. This is Calgary going to BC. So this game could clinch a playoff spot for Calgary. This can also eliminate BC. Calgary, very quietly in the last 5 weeks, has moved into where they are the number 2 defense in points allowed. Their top ranking as far as yardage. Calgary is a sneaky good defense. And, the quarterback play that they always get out of Bo Levi Mitchell, especially at this time of year. I mean, the man is a Grey Cup MVP. So I like the fact that we only have to lay 2.5 points. We're going with both road teams here, but we lay 2.5 points. Calgary going to BC. BC is out of things left to play for. They just are. Their best wide receiver is recovering from a hand injury, and he wasn't very involved in the game last week. And I don't know what reason BC really has in this game, other than pride, which can be over or underrated depending on who it is. Calgary laying 2.5.
So Hamilton's a pretty good team, right?
Hamilton, yes.
No, they're the only team that has scored more than 19 points against Calgary at home. I mean, on the road. This is on the road. Calgary's at BC, right?
Yeah, and what's odd about this game is statistically BC is 1-4 at home, and Calgary is 4-2 on the road. So it kind of matches up for us.
Yeah, and they give up a lot of points. BC gives up a lot of points, no doubt about it. All right, so when we come back from break, we're going to check on live bets. We're going to see if I can get that play that I've been trying for the Baltimore team total over. And we're going to cash some more tickets. You're listening to Sports Betting Weekly.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Be fearless at MMA Long Island and Setuha Karate. Located at 28 Colt Court in Ronkonkoma, MMA Long Island is the martial arts school for you if you want to learn combat-proven techniques, build confidence, discipline, and self-esteem while learning real martial arts to fight back against bullies, predators, and peer pressure. MMA Long Island offers group and private lessons for all ages and levels in traditional Goju-Ryu Karate, MMA, and self-defense. MMA Long Island is one of Long Island's most affordable martial arts schools. There are no promotion, belt, or membership fees, and family discounts are available. All classes are taught by 7th degree black belt Sensei John Benedict with over 30 years teaching experience. So whether you want to get in the ring or protect yourself and your family, MMA Long Island can help you reach your goals. Visit MMALongIsland.com. That's MMALongIsland.com or call or text 516-381-9660. That's 516-381-9660.
Do current market conditions have you nervous? Our experienced team of financial professionals at Heritage Harbor Financial Associates understands that no two investors are alike. We all have different goals, needs, and appetites for risk. That's why the one-size-fits-all approach does not work, especially when planning for retirement. At Heritage Harbor Financial Associates, we analyze your unique investment style so that you can work toward your individual retirement goals on your terms. Heritage Harbor Financial Associates can help you take steps to reach your retirement goals by providing a wide array of financial products to fit your needs, even for the risk adverse. Give us a call at 631-331-6599 to learn more or to set up an appointment with one of our financial professionals. You can also find us on the web at hhfa.org or on Facebook at facebook.com/hhfa.org. Our number again is 631-331-6599. That's 631-331-6599. Investments in stock, bonds, and mutual funds and variable annuities are not FDIC insured and are subject to fluctuation in value and market risk, including loss of principal. Heritage Harbor Financial Associates offers securities through AXA Advisors LLC, New York, New York. Member FINRA, SIPC. Annuity and insurance products offered through AXA Network LLC.
Edward Lehman has been a trusted insurance advisor for over 16 years with insurance solutions for auto, home, commercial, life, and retirement. He's located at 54 Sunnyside Boulevard, Suite H in Plainview. That's just 1,000 feet south of 495. Local agent, local advice. The time to think about insurance is before you need it. So do yourself a favor and before you pay your next insurance bill, give Ed and his team a call, 516-935-3900, or visit him online at www.allstate.com/EL. Edward H. Lehman Insurance is your trusted insurance advisor.
It's the Worldwide Sports Radio Network.
Sports Betting Weekly.
You keep lying when you ought to be truthing. And you keep losing when you ought to not bet.
Sit back and enjoy the show.
Welcome back to Sports Betting Weekly. If it's like 20 to 9 in New York City, wherever you are, if it's like 20 to 9 in New York City, you got about 20 minutes to the loudmouths. You got another 20 minutes of us giving you winners. And that's what we're going to continue to do because you're listening to Sports Betting Weekly on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network, Belly Up Sports Podcast Network, and the Sports Betting Channel. I want to say that I want to thank my sports book for not opening up the North Carolina team total to me at 26.5. Because I got to think by the time we get to halftime, I'm going to get a better number than that for the second half. I'm still believing they're going to score their points. I'm just not thinking they're going to get 26.5 of them. All right, so let's see what we got here. We're going to check on those plays. So right now, where are we, John, with the NFL game?
NFL game, still 3-0. Baltimore just got the ball back. There's about 7 minutes still left in the first. So, you know, we kind of want to see a touchdown here. Field goals, unfortunately, I don't really like a field goal here because we would still need 2 more scores after that to cover.
Right. And what I'm looking at is a nice long drive that gets them down in the red zone as clock runs out on the first quarter, because everybody knows the reason why so many points are scored on the very first play of the second quarter is because you had bet the first quarter, and they knew that. No, it's because you get that free timeout. It's a free timeout. You get to use it. Why? If you got 25 seconds left in the quarter, no matter where you are on the field, no matter what down it is, why would you snap the ball? Because you can take it, make sure you got a good play. So we'll see what happens there. And then what about the Wes? Can you give us an update on the college game?
Yeah, it's 17-0 Pitt, and so we're in it at 17.5 on our live play, and NC's got the ball. And they're moving, so if they can put any points on the board, we'll hold it. We'll hold strong. 7.5 minutes to go. We're looking good on that one.
Awesome. All right, so I think the next thing we got to do is we got to look to the future, because we're not going to get much more live action. The only way we would get more live action, of course, is later on in the year. John, how many college games are there on a Thursday night when we're doing our show? Basketball.
Oh, wow. There's probably at least, I would say 20 to 30 is probably around this time, either, just starting or going into the second half. So, yeah, there's usually a nice slate. I even think today, even though I probably wouldn't recommend betting on the teams, there's probably about 20 to 30 games for college basketball.
And then, Wes, when we talk about hockey, when I get used to the data for different sports that I don't cover, you kind of see how the schedules go, and every league has their travel days and things of that nature. In the NHL, is Thursday a busy day?
Every day in the NHL is busy. I mean, right now we're looking at about a dozen games, like 8 or 9 of them that are on right now, and then here at 7 your time, 9 my time, we got 2 puck drops. And then we got one that's going to happen here in about 15 minutes. So, and then, these games are kind of all over the place right now. Edmonton and Boston are ending the second period. But then, we have Nashville and St. Louis. They're halfway through the first. So we're kind of all over there. We can count on anywhere from 6 to a dozen games going on in the NHL on Thursdays.
Well, the beauty of NHL is we always love we can hear the clapping, so you probably should just tell us why you're clapping.
It was just it was your average old run-of-the-mill 76-yard bomb touchdown to keep us covering.
Oh, there you go. That helps my overbet too. All right, so where were we at? Oh, hockey. There's you got to admit, there's nothing better for this show, and we've had some great nights where the first period overs. It really is.
Can't beat cashing, in the first 20 minutes of a game. So
yeah. No, exactly. All right, so let's talk about the future. Let's talk about this weekend. Wes, what about your circuit plays? Anything yet?
Yeah, I'm not ready to submit them, and it's only because I avoid. There were a couple Thursdays that I jumped on. There was a Jacksonville play that jumps off the page earlier in the year that I got that in, but I really want to wait until the last possible minute. So, but there's a couple of them that I like. Like I really like Philly this week. After what Denver just did, going to Dallas, coming back home, and Philly on the road, it just I think that the odds makers are just begging us to take Denver in this spot, and Philly's just a very good team. So I really do like Philly in this spot. And then there's some odd ones, like the Chiefs are laying 2.5, going to Vegas, and they typically own Vegas, and there's still some behind the scenes drama going on over there. I'm not touching that one, but that's an odd line. But I mean, the only one I'm really sure about right now that's going to be on my plays is going to be the Philly +3.
Of course, that Vegas game is a night game anyway, so that would normally be off your board anyway, right?
True.
Yeah, I know. I've been on a roll with on Friday nights when I joined the Belly Up Fantasy team, Chris and Dan. The reason I hesitate, it's not that I forgot their names. It's because I'm just now seeing the play that you told me about like 35 seconds ago. So there's a really big stream. I tell you guys all the time, when I'm up in the studio, I have to put on my headset, shut the door. Otherwise, I can tell what's happening because, like Wes, these people downstairs at my house are screaming, especially if my son's got action on the day. So there's nothing worse that you don't know why. Well, no, I almost always know why they're screaming because I know who they like ahead of time. So, but I'm saying, how did they get a 76-yard bomb? The other team has the ball. Now I figured it out. All right. So, but yeah, on that Friday night show, I had a nice little run where my best bet of the week in the NFL is hit every week. And it's been games that were easy and they were overs. And that's what I'm going to do again this week. I'm going to look for a game where there's not really a lot of injuries. There's not a lot of weather. And we got teams because right now with the data, guys, the Easy Sports data, and I said, you guys got emailed both the files, the NFL and the CFL. What I'm looking at is halfway through the season, you got now 3, 4, 5 games on the road or at home, whatever they are, in that matchup report that allows you to say, hey, if you do it 4 times in a row, every single week you go on the road, you do something, then you're probably going to do that thing. And that was really, it's really great. Like I said, the Tennessee, for heaven's sakes, the Tennessee game, they had their team total over in the first half. That's just a special gift when you get a game team total over in the first half, because again, you could do whatever you want at that point. I like to go to the gym knowing I don't need to be looking at the TV every 2 minutes. I like to have my workout go from station to station to station, not from station to TV to station to TV to station to TV. You're just not getting a lot of cardio in front of the big screen. They do have a very nice gym that we go to. They have a very nice setup with their TVs, very big screens, a few of them, but they don't have any machines right in front of them. They really should. Those you would be on a waiting list for. All right. So, John, in terms of this weekend for the games, is there anything that you're waiting to see specifically, whether it's, somebody that's been hurt, they're supposed to come back, or whatever the case may be, that's going to help you solidify those circuit plays?
Yeah, well, there's the 2 question marks, and they're pretty big. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers, I think we're all kind of waiting to see what's going to go on with that situation. It's going to be tough for him, I think, to play this week, but we'll see how that goes. And then also Nick Chubb for Cleveland Browns. He's going to need 2 negative tests in order to become eligible. So, that makes it tricky. I have to put my plays in on Saturday. And I don't know if we'll get a definite answer before that deadline for either of those 2 teams. So it's kind of like it's limiting your options because those two matchups I'll kind of X off. Because I don't even want to deal with it because we won't know the determining factor as far as the player status is. So,
those are 2 big names,
Oh, those are 2 big, huge names, especially for Nick Chubb with the Browns there. After everything that was going on, and Chubb had a big game last week. So I mean, when you're missing, 2 superstars like that, it's definitely raises some eyebrows and makes you wonder. So that's kind of why I'll probably pass on those and look for some other options. But yeah, so that's kind of the 2 things that I'm kind of leaning on to see if I get an early incline on whether they are good to go or not.
Well, remember John saying earlier, we really don't want a field goal here. Did he not say those exact words? You got to word it better. They didn't want it either. You don't see
they didn't want it either. I know. Yeah, I was watching it go that way, and I said, "Well, that's not a field goal." That's tough. I
told you guys. I read the data to you, and I talked myself into that first quarter under.
That first quarter is looking good right now.
I just got to. I'm rooting for the clock.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
All right. So
they're
Wes,
probably going to wind it down with the punt.
Yeah, Wes, let me ask you. John mentioned Aaron Rodgers. Did you get to watch Green Bay's game at all with Jordan Love?
Yeah, I did, and I was a big Jordan Love fan. In college, I was. It was one of those things where I enjoyed watching him play so much in college, and as a Chicago guy, I was very upset that Green Bay had drafted yet another quarterback to beat our faces in for a decade.
Yeah.
What did you think? I didn't think much of the performance. I mean, I think that the Chiefs defense played better than what we have all grown to expect out of the Chiefs defense. But I don't know how much of that was Jordan Love and just not being comfortable in the system, which is odd because he's been in that system for over a year.
He's been there for 18 months, I think.
Yeah, and he certainly got weapons. And the Chiefs defense is not a defense that is going to make the quarterback play badly. So I think we're TBD on Jordan Love and where his future goes.
And that's a great segue. So if you see here behind me, Saturday morning, 8 o'clock, California time, 11 o'clock Eastern time. Join us for To Be Determined. We'll talk to Mo, who's been on a run. Blackhawk West joins us for Saturdays in Canada, soccer time with Hector. That's we're covering USL soccer, and they're in their playoffs. Playoff soccer is pretty cool soccer because they keep playing. If they don't win, they keep playing, and if they don't win, they keep playing, and they do their penalty kicks. And really, it doesn't count for your bet if you got a penalty kick, but it's an exciting way to finish a game. There's no doubt about it. And
soccer's tricky when you're betting.
And then of course,
minutes.
Wake and Bake. Wake and Bake is my favorite show of all the segments we do because it's where marijuana meets sports betting. Okay, so one of the things about Jordan Love is his record against the spread is pretty good, isn't it? All right, what is his record, Wes, against the spread, Jordan Love? Do you know as a starter?
Well, I'm guessing 1-0 because the Chiefs don't cover spreads. The only way for the Chiefs to cover a spread is if it's a pick 'em and they win.
Yeah. Well, the other aspect of it is we've talked about that till we were blue in the face, but the bottom line is they had the ball. They were driving, and they needed it because of the missed extra point, right? They only needed a touchdown and extra point. They were going to win that game on the field. But he threw a pick. But the bottom line is they were right there. So I think if he does play, he's got to play better than he did before because of the fact that Pittsburgh just scored. Now, I don't know if you guys both knew that because you're light years ahead of me on this game. But so that's a cash for me because that will give me the team total over for the first half for Pittsburgh. Go North Carolina. All right. Before we finish up, I did switch out the banners. Check out John on Instagram, GMF_sports_consultants. Follow us on Twitter at 151_sports. And you can play like the public, and you just go to bit.ly. I like those bit.ly links because then you don't have to use a pen. You just write down cash tickets here, and you can play with us. And you guys really, it's been very much appreciative of all the winners you've given me because with the show, Pick just missed the extra point. I don't know if I needed that. But I had the over, so of course I needed it,
I'm thrilled.
Yeah. When you're doing all the shows and you're doing all the data, I still have a business that I run. Actually, I got two of them. So the bottom line is anytime I can get help, I appreciate it, but it's even better when the help is cashing tickets. You could give me help. Always. It doesn't mean they're going to win, but when you do, so I just want to let you guys know. And if anybody's out there watching or listening, really, you got to check these guys out. They're just very good at what they do. And I'm excited because I know probably by the beginning of next year, for sure, once I get through this season, Wes, I'm going to get a little more involved with the discord.com page or Chicago
options trader, and the group would love to have your presence.
Well, no, I mean, because I've been hanging around now, just kind of watching and reading comments. You could tell stupid people by the words they use. Now, as you know, when you think it, it's one thing. When you say it, it's another. But the bottom line is when you write it down, it changes everything. The rules change. And when I write something down, you read it in your mind. So it doesn't matter what I meant. It's how you take it. And I could just tell you got some really smart people on that page. So looking forward to that. All right. So before we go, and you guys, if you hang around on this Worldwide Sports Radio Network, you're going to get the loudmouths. They're coming on. Before we go, what do I got to say? I told them where to reach John. I told him where to Wes, I already pitched Saturday's show. I'll do some social media. And that's the one thing I wanted to remind you. I am going to put out there the calendar for this year's, I think it's 7th or 8th annual Bet-Away weekend. I hated that pandemic because I couldn't go last year. And we saw John earlier. Remember, it was like November, December. Before
you came out a little bit earlier.
Because my son was going to Brazil and everything was locking up. But Wes, I wanted to get it out to you because that gives you maybe time enough to make the plans as well. I know you were out there recently, but it's still almost 2-3 months away now, so we'll see.
I'm in.
Yeah, we're gonna get out of here. Thanks for listening. Do me a favor, always be cashing.
Always be cashing.